Today on the podcast, I spoke with Marcus Byrne. We sat down and talked about AI and how he has used some of it with his graphic design and how he thinks it's not taking anyone's job. It's just giving us another tool in the toolbox.
You've got great audio. Obviously, your audio just sounds so smooth. It sounds like talk radio host in nighttime. You know, when you're just chilling.
Yeah, I'm the nighttime DJ, trying to be a calm, collective voice.
Yeah, I used to listen to. I had tinnitus, whatever. I thought I did from going to gigs, and when I was probably my late teens, 17, 18, and I couldn't sleep because I heard that high pitched sound in my left ear. So I had to sleep with radio on all night, and
Dang.
eventually it went away. It was a muscle in spasm. They just said, stay away from gigs, don't play the drums. I did it for like 3 or 4 months. I just stayed away from loud stuff, but I have ear damage, but it the ringing went away.
Whoa, that's crazy. And so you don't really have that as much anymore, or is it still kind of there?
Don't have the ringing anymore, but certain guitar frequencies will go here like a in the left ear, or I have to I've got proper earplugs for gigs which are molded to my ear, so I wear them at live events.
Do you play still?
Yeah, not as much as I'd like to, but
Yeah.
but I do. Yeah, I bought an Irish drum because it's less damaging on the ears, but it's I also get the same amount of enjoyment out of playing just that drum. But you just get into a meditative state, you know. It's great.
Yeah, it's like just having that ability to like do something with your hands or like create something. I mean, I was just looking at forget where I saw this post, but somebody was talking about just like even if you do all this digital work like we're so used to right now, it's like just taking everything and like maybe putting it all on your desk and start like one guy, I think he's a writer, he has like a desk where it's just analog and then a desk that's just digital.
Brilliant.
And it's like it made me think, I'm like, maybe I need that. Maybe I need a spot where I'm just like drawing ideas and writing, and then that like digital can't live on that desk.
That's brilliant. It's almost like having a creative space that just has no technology, with just markers and pens. Like I'm actually I've got like bits of paper that I write on all the time. My creative process, although it's digital, I treat it in quite a messy way. Like I've got stuff, you know, boards and digital boards and bits stuff I write down. You know, like it's I always say creativity is non-linear. It's a very similar to life, right? It's ideas can come from anywhere. You know, I've got bits on my phone, bits of notes here and there that will relate to something I'm working on, or the cloud-based stuff is great because you can just obviously access the same content from anywhere. So constantly adding things to different boards for inspiration to go with a personal project that's moving somewhere, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's like I was talking to somebody the other day and I feel like I bookmark stuff all the time. I'm like bookmarking things on Instagram, X, LinkedIn, and then I'm like, where the hell are they? And I like barely go back to them. And I feel like it's an issue.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Because it's obviously you're inspired by that thing that you saw, whether it's an image or a quote or something, and you go, I'm going to get back to that later. It's almost like you need to, in that screen grab function, send to whatever that is an AI to categorize it into, because it would know what it would be categorized in based on your pillars or whatever. Like it feels like there's an opportunity there for something.
I mean, I started to like map that out in Claude, like,
oh wow,
and try it. So I'm doing a lot of like app development stuff. Like I love the filmmaking thing, and it's like definitely big for me, and that's like my big driver is creating films, creating videos that people want to watch about people and human interests. But I've got this like with all this AI stuff going on, like yes, it has its positives and negatives, but I'm finding myself diving into these like building moments where I can finally like build the thing that I was thinking about, or at least try to, which is kind of cool because like I know nothing about code.
You don't need to know. You don't need to know anything about code.
No.
You just have the idea, have the North Star. Friends of mine are doing the same thing. I built an app as well for fun. Scanning products and figuring out where they come from. And it was an idea I had ages ago using barcodes, but now the fact that you can actually just scan the front of the packaging, the AI can do all the work, and it's fascinating the things you can do. Just through Replit, change the font, change the interface to look like X, Y, Z. Having that full control over a digital product, it's liberating. And I see my kid, who's 12 or 13, sorry, just turned 13. He's building stuff in Replit, and you kind of
Yeah.
go, that gives me hope when you see kids building stuff with tools that you never saw before. Like it's creatively
Yeah.
liberating.
Yeah, I mean, there's the other side of it where people are like, "Oh, well, it's taking over and it's allowing us to do more things and think less." And I think it's quite the opposite. I think we're able to express more now because
Mm-hmm.
everybody, a lot of people, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people have these tools and access to these tools, and the playing field is kind of level now in a way. If you have
Mm-hmm.
access to the internet, you have a computer, and you have a little bit of money to put into some of these programs. I mean, the imaging, like you do a lot of this graphic stuff. It's crazy where it's come from, like how far it's come.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be this far, this quick. To be honest, it
Yeah.
was it was yeah, from DALI to Midjourney to Nano Banana to ChatGPT, which is now is probably a step up over Nano Banana in certain parts.
Oh,
Yes, and then I kind of jump between all of them because I kind of know the pros and cons. I
yeah.
kind of know what I'm looking for. But yeah, I agree. I think we are possibly it's a great renaissance happening.
Yeah. And what happens now though? Like it's got me thinking like I'm using the tools probably not nearly as much as I could, but like I'm looking at Nano Banana and I've just gotten into Luma, which I think you were talking about last time we met. Like
Mm.
Luma is wild. Like
Lima's wild. It's got a new agentic system now, so you can put in a lot more content, and it just kind of works away in the background.
yeah, you can like build out brand boards and like
Hmm.
basically it works as your like creative partner.
Yeah, and I
And
think because it's in one space like that, it feels more like a partner. The 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 board idea, so the Figma board or those collaborative
yeah,
boards with nodes, is extremely powerful because the best ideas are with collaboration, right? Like it's
right.
very rarely you get one person building a company, but you will now with AI, I'm sure.
Totally.
But great stuff comes with loads of different inputs, loads of different experience, and whether it's even a conversation before you go to do it, you've probably got the idea from someone else, right? You don't just come with the idea on your own and just go for it. Really, you've loads of conversations happen,
Right.
and when all those conversations or those people can have that input into that one board, the magic happens because everyone's got different points of view,
Right.
and to me, that's the key to this stuff. It's collaborative, it's connecting people, and 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 it's so powerful. You can have whatever you want. It's almost like when you say the leveling, it's kind of leveled now. I agree. It's almost like we're back to square one.
Hmm.
Okay, you can have anything you want. What do you want to do?
It's
That's
overwhelming.
it's extremely overwhelming because most people want a brief. As they say, the blank page is
Right.
scary. So when you got
Yeah.
coming up with ideas, where do you start? So most people go straight to, like, you're, say it's an art direction thing you're doing, or a brief for a client, or whatever it is for design, piece of communication. Starting on that blank page is always like, oh, like years ago before, like, AI and computers were crazy now, but that was always a scary place.
Right.
And then people go to Google Images for inspiration and all their Behance and all those blogs that they have bookmarked to get ideas. And then people go to AI to go, give me 10 ideas for this looking like this, and boom. So you kind of go, the creative process is different now. It's not like
Hmm.
it's not, it's completely different. It's almost it's as different as the horse and cart and a car. You know what I mean? It's as different as that.
Yeah.
It's a whole new industry. It's a
Yeah.
whole new way of even thinking or approaching anything. So when people say to me AI is just a tool, I yes, we have tools, but AI is as big as electricity to fire, and it's at a wheel. It's a whole new world that we're entering now. it has changed, and it's going to keep on changing very quickly until that baseline, or is that baseline going to happen where it's like, I think structurally no one knows, and that's what causes the anxiety. Nobody knows where it's going, and it's so
Yeah.
different. That's what causes everyone to be anxious, because no, you can't predict the future. So if you can't predict the future and you don't know what's going to happen, that's natural. Nobody can. But what you can do, and this is what I do, and it's, yes, it does cause a lot of anxiety, but I look at what's available to me on any given task or day or idea and go, what can I do with this? You know,
Mhm.
being open minded and playing and adapting and nurturing my personal values, which are leaning into this AI. I come from that place of adapting. I've done a lot of travel and met a lot of people, and I feel being open minded and treating it like this, it's not as scary. It's almost like, have you ever scuba dived?
I have not, but it seems scary to me. I mean, I
Okay.
don't mind snorkeling, but
Yep.
going way under and out of
Yep.
my element.
Okay. Okay. So I've done scuba diving. I was terrified.
Oh yeah.
I had a bad accident in Thailand snorkeling, and I didn't like deep water, right? So friends of mine bought me my paddy to do my paddy up in Queensland in the Great Barrier Reef. I was living in Sydney at the time, and they said, "We know you really want to do it, and we know you're afraid to do it, but because we bought it for you for your birthday, you'll probably do it now too, because we're more accountable."
Yeah.
And I went up, did the course of 3 days. First, yeah, out in the boat, got the panic attacks, and the instructor decided she would go with me because she knew I didn't want to be with someone else who was just learning the same day to be my buddy. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
and we went down under the water 10 meters, doing all this stuff, regulator, all that kind of stuff. Bum, 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 bum. Right, I did that for a few days, but then months later, I was in Malaysia and a place called the Perhentian Islands, and I was doing my diving 3 dives a day, and someone said to me, "Why don't you do your advanced course? Because you're doing so many dives anyway." So I did. So I decided, okay, stay longer. I had no plan. I was like going to go around Southeast Asia or whatever, and and I related to AI because I was terrified of going, like, doing a 30-meter dive and a shipwreck dive and a night dive. All these things I had to do as part of the advanced course.
Yeah.
But what I realized was that, yes, it's terrifying because you don't know what's down there. But once you do it and you're on a static line on the way back after a 30-meter dive, and you're literally just waiting on a line, and there's all these, like, it's like a different world. It's like you're on a different planet or something. It's just so alien. But once you get into that breathing and just focusing on your breath, you don't think about anything else because you're just thinking about surviving. So it's almost like people say when you're sword fighting or whatever, like, you're not thinking about anything else in life, or you're just thinking about surviving. And that's what's good about sport. You're just thinking about that moment. You get into that meditative state. I felt like that with scuba diving. But what I would say is, when you scuba dive and then you get comfortable scuba diving, doing a 10-meter dive and seeing all the most amazing fish and the beautiful stuff that you see and the nature, it's almost like you realize what's there. And that's what AI, you kind of get over the fear of it and then go, oh, I can make anything. Oh, right, now I see. Now I understand what this means. It means I can make an app, or I can make a thing to fix this, or I can make something for the school or to educate my kids. That is empowering, but it's scary at first because it's like the blank page. Oh, I can have anything. Oh, I don't know what to do. If you
Yeah.
ask anybody to make an image in Midjourney or whatever, so my mother-in-law, for instance, when I showed her this a few years ago, I was like, you can make anything, and most people say, I don't know. They don't know what to make because they can have anything. So therefore, but if you said,
Right.
oh, what kind of dog? They'd go, oh, a Labrador. So if you prompt them to give them a suggestion, but if somebody wants, if anyone can make anything, that's terrifying because we've been conditioned, right? We've been conditioned to be put in boxes, to put 40 years of putting a button on a shirt, the Industrial
Yeah.
Revolution, or I do this part of the job to make the car. I fix the wheels, or, so that conditioning has taken us out of what was abundant when you're fishing and hunter gatherers. You're kind of like, you weren't thinking about anything else. We've kind of made life very complicated over time, and now hopefully it will get less complicated. Hopefully, I don't know. No one knows. Will it be a
Mhm.
2-day work week? Will it be a 3-day work week? Will it be a basic income or high income? Who knows where this is going to go? But the anxiety is not known, the unknown. But just take what you can now and do what you can with it to enjoy yourself and play with it and be open minded with it.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I like the scuba diving reference because it does feel like that. It feels like I mean, like every day something new comes out or something connects to something else. Like the MCP just came out for Higgs field. And so, like, now you can connect it to OpenClaw and you can run imaging and video. And like, it's, I mean, it's wild. I've been building OpenClaw agents and diving into that, and I really love it. But for a lot of people, when I talk to them, they're exactly what you said. I don't know what to do. And some people are extremely terrified, and some people are on the other end just like so against it. But
I know.
that's the part I don't understand. Like, what do you say to people who are like extremely against AI?
It's a weird one because I've told you before, I've got a couple of generations of designers in my family.
Right.
And it goes back 3 generations. There's now 4 being my kids, right? So when my kids did the art behind me here. And when I discovered, when I discovered DALL-E, I was a DALL-E beta tester. I was a DALL-E beta tester about 5 years ago, 2001 or whatever it was. And it was a bit shit. Like it wasn't,
Yeah.
you put in someone on a horse, and you guys, like collage type, composition was good. And it was like, but it wasn't really detailed or whatever. But when Midjourney came out and I was playing around on my phone, I remember getting what I wanted, getting the detail, getting something that looked bloody good. I had a panic attack because I was like Photoshop expert for 20 years, building images.
Right.
Someone might want a concept for something for an ad, and I would build that thing. I would make that thing look good. I made art directors look good for 20 years because it was like, there's the rough concept we want to do, and I would do the final, million layers, 5 gig file for images with millions of photos in there to make a hero image, whether it's for a car or for whatever it is, and heads and this and grass and background and foreground. And that's what I love to do, is just to build that thing in a high-res capacity and understanding photography. And so seeing Midjourney give me what I wanted, I was like, what's this going to do for photographers, for image generators, for designers? But so I had a bit of a panic attack, and this kind of felt very overwhelming. But what happened was I heard my uncle in my head. My uncle Eamon was a paste-up artist, right? So his father worked with the newspapers. He was a linotype artist, worked for 50 years as an apprentice from 16 till he died in 66. And looking at the change, so what happened was obviously linotype, industrial hot metal printing, really, really, really dangerous.
Yeah.
His son's a paste-up artist. My granddad didn't think what he was doing was creative, because he's not making the letters are coming out of Electroset. He's rubbing them down. He's not beating them with metal and lead and being in a dangerous environment. And then when my uncle saw me making a poster with Cork Express on my desktop with my Mac when I was a teenager, he basically said to me, he saw a font menu with 20 fonts on it, and he saw me changing a font in a split second. And he went, what? And he goes, no, there's nothing creative about this. Yeah. And that's what I heard. I was like, it was my Uncle Eamon saying to me, you're not being creative making this. It's a computer. It's robots. Robots are here. Yeah. He bailed out. He wasn't into it. And it was that, when I heard that in there, I'm going, this is a generational thing. I've been so used to this for 20 years, and now I'm able to do this. It's because but if my kid did it, he'd go, well, that's great, because he hasn't gone through the pain 20 years to make the thing. So right. I look at everything with a child's mindset. I look at how my kids react to technology, and I see how they think about it.
Yeah.
And people are embracing it, because, and yes, there's backlash. Obviously, that happens with all change. Happened the same with horse and cart. It was like,
right.
Someone heard about an engine and was like, that day someone heard about an engine, somebody bought 1,000 horses. You know what I mean? Like that's what happened. Someone was like just went into business, put all their eggs in one basket, said, I'm going to sell horses, or I'm going to do hooves, or whatever. And then someone goes, I've got a car.
Yeah.
But what happened then? The the car industry 100x'd
Yeah.
the horse and cart industry, and bigger obviously now. But not only that, it broadened their horizons. That's the difference for humanity's sake. On a horse, you could go so far without drinking water. In a car, you could go so far without gas. But we went further, and then we needed to stop for gas. So we had shops, and then towns and villages, because we can go further. It opened our horizons and made us think differently about the world. And that's what I think has happened with AI. It's making us think deeper about different things, because now we can ask questions. We can bounce ideas off a PhD level, insert subject. So to me, all change, all things change. Nothing stays the same. Life is completely non-linear. And it's a river. It's like how I approach life. It's there are no straight lines in nature. And
Yeah.
most industries, I talk about the fact that the ad industry is very linear as far as the timelines and what has to be done next, and this gets ticked off, and all the stakeholders, and that has to be for a process. Most processes are a linear process, but creativity is non-linear. You get ideas from anywhere, and now you can have a video from a prompt, and now you don't have to go through the storyboard because you've just got the idea. So it's much more liquid. I look at AI as being liquid. So everything has to adapt to that then. But what's happening is people are still trying to people are getting excited about making the 30-second spot faster, I can do personalization. I can have different people in the ads and different music for different people. All this personalization at scale they're talking about. And that's fine. But I'm interested in is the new stuff that's going to come out of this, the new things that even haven't happened yet, which is using this technology in ways that couldn't have been done before. Because right now we're basically the radio on the television. We're the first year of the radio on the television. We got two guys talking with a microphone in front of them, and that's what we call television. For years we called that television. It was just the guys on the radio. Yeah. But now there's a camera in front of them, and that's television. I was going to see them. I've got a television in my house. Well, you got what's the difference though? You get to see them now, right?
Yeah.
Well, it took years before Hollywood arrived. It took years before the variety shows, Elvis, Lucille Ball, all that stuff, entertainment, cuts, multiple cameras, editing, and then Stan and Netflix and bloody hell, whatever's next. So I think that's what's happened with AI. We're not thinking about what we can do creatively. Like you say, you're building apps and Claude and all these kind of integrations that's happening from a creative process to tell a story in a unique way using technology. We haven't figured out the language of AI yet. We're just loads of stuff around the fringes, but it is starting. People are starting to play. A lot of people are doing really interesting things. The Dave Clarks and the Kelly Bosch and the Silver Sides and Secret Level and all these innovative companies are pushing this stuff and are doing interesting things because they're seeing the setting themselves up for the next way of communicating, the next way of telling stories.
Yeah, what do you think that is? Like, if you had to guess, like what does some of that look like? Is it interactive? Do we all get a different experience like for a film, or do we all is there more? I don't know. Cause I also think we get rid of screens, maybe not laptops necessarily, but I feel like phones are not going to be around that much longer. I don't think. I think it's going to be like glasses, heads up displays, less distraction in front of you and more of being in the moment, but also using the technology to live with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think phones will probably disappear. As they say, it just takes one Christmas. It takes one Christmas for that device that everybody wants. Yeah. That's better than the iPhone, like Nokia. Everyone's like, Nokia, great. And then iPhone comes along, no one wants a Nokia. But what's happening right now, though, is people want dumb phones.
Right.
Because people realize. So I think it's never going to be one way, though, right? You're not going to go, everyone's going to be walking around with heads-up displays. It's like, it's like, there's going to be loads of things coexist. I got friends of mine who just never answer their phone. I've no notifications turned on my phone.
Yeah.
So I've got to go in when I want to see something, and I'll get a message someone sent me a week ago, and I'll just go, sorry, no notifications. I don't use this app very often because there's too many ways.
Too many.
How often have you gone in to reply to somebody and then gone, oh, was that a WhatsApp? Was it Signal? Was it a messenger? Was it a text message? Was it an email? I can't remember.
It's absolutely insane. And
So
it's distracting.
it's too distracting. So I think we need to get back to what makes us human beings more. And I think hopefully AI will help us do that. It will take all the mundane and all the organization of stuff that has actually muddled us up for so long. It's destroyed brains.
Yeah.
Kids are
I mean,
wrecked from this stuff.
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is like a lot of people right now are pointing fingers at, and I understand that anything in technology takes up space, data centers, all of that is ruining the planet. But when somebody brings that up with AI, and I don't know the statistics behind any of this, but I always go to, hey, we've had social media, the cloud. You've been saving photos and posting photos for years now. Where do you think that data goes? Those
100%
data
agree.
centers have been destroying the planet. And now you're just mad because AI is front and center. And so you're saying it's destroying the planet when we've already been doing that with your iPhone, your
Yep.
Snapchats, you're sending your breakfast to your friends even through text messages. Where do you think that goes?
People don't think about that though.
No, because they like it.
Yeah, and also people just don't think about it. Like the average person wouldn't even consider the fact that that message lives on, backed up on different clouds and on different
Right.
servers, and nobody really thinks about that stuff like you do and I do, because people in technology and art, and you think about storage, like, oh, with video files, I need another hard drive, right? So you just understand technically what that means. Even
Yeah.
a lot of people don't. They just go, oh, does it matter? And you're like, yeah, it does matter where your stuff is stored. Of course it does, but you
Yeah.
got, oh, just back up everything to Apple. Okay, fine. It's meant to be private. It's meant to be good. But what happens if it's not next month when someone else owns it, or some other CEO
Yeah.
comes in and decides, oh, can we just own everything now and use it for training data, which they probably are anyway? It's like,
Right.
do you trust tech companies? No, who can? I don't.
Yeah.
Like I read something a while ago and I thought it was really interesting. Someone said something in a podcast around dating apps,
Mm.
and they said that dating apps are designed to keep people single. And it was a throwaway comment in something I read or saw, and I was like,
Yeah.
I went away thinking, oh my god, that makes sense. And if you actually think about it, and I wrote this down somewhere the other day, and I just picked it up for this because I was going to ask it. So the tech company used a psychological principle called intermittent reinforcement,
Okay.
and that's what it's called. So if you won every time you swiped,
Yep.
you just get bored. But if you
Right.
lost every time you swiped, you just quit. So by giving you a match just as often enough to keep you in your hope alive, they
Mm.
keep you in the cycle, right? So if you actually think about that from a business plan, if everyone starts getting married, there's no one single anymore, right? So if you think about from a sociological point of view and a cultural point of view, when someone's going to meet somebody after swiping or whatever, that bus journey they take, that experience that they take to get there, that's all been manipulated.
Mm.
That week that they've been thinking about meeting that dude or that girl or that whatever that is, in their brain space, their reality has been completely manipulated by a tech company.
Yeah.
And we all know now with the Cambridge Analytica and everything else with tech companies, it's the same thing. They just serve you up stuff to make you think a certain way or to nudge you this and that direction. So there's a lot to be said for this stuff. So when you said the phone hopefully disappears or whatever, I'm in the same camp as you. I agree. I think when that Christmas comes along and it's a particular thing that does whatever it does and doesn't have a screen on it, I think we're going to be relieved. I think we're going to look back in this time like we do smoking and go,
Yeah.
what? You used to be able to smoke on an airplane? Remember telling our kids that? Like it wasn't in my time, but remember my mom
Yeah.
and dad saying you used to be able to smoke on an airplane. And I was like, really? Like,
Yeah.
or clothes shopping. Remember my mom saying, oh yeah, I used to walk around clothes shopping like just with a cigarette, and I'm going, oh
Yeah.
my god, like the stink of those clothes that you're just buying. Like, but so I think we might look back at this time as well. I also think we might look back at this time. I've got a stand-up desk. I kind of go up and down with this electronic thing, but I also think we might look back at it as well and think we used to sit at a desk staring at a screen that's like half a meter away from our face for 8 hours
Yeah.
a day. Like, it's ludicrous.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, you wonder why people feel the way they do. They're depressed. They're anxious more often. We've done it to ourselves. We've put all these things,
Mhm.
like you said, we've been sitting. There's a screen in front of us. We're not interacting with people as much anymore. Some people don't even know how to talk to people. Like you meet them out in public and they're like, they don't know what to do.
It's really sad. There's a whole generation that have missed out though. They've missed out on interaction. I was talking to my cousin who I hadn't seen actually since he was 12. And I spoke to him online, and then we realized he's in AI and he's in his 30s now. And it was crazy, with the best chat ever. And he was telling me that he had a phone when he was 12 or 10 or something. And he said he literally said to me, it's after taking him 3 years. I think maybe it's not 30, he's 28 maybe. He said it's after taking him 3 years to get out of the matrix.
Yeah.
And he literally described it like that. He said, I've had to do a lot of, he converted to Buddhism. He's in AI safety now. And he's like, what can I do? What can I give most of my time to that's going to have the most beneficial for society? Because he believed that the distractions for a decade of manipulation has made him think about the world in a certain way and realize it wasn't that way. It was manipulated. So he said he'd be scrolling at for all hours of the night, not sleeping. So we have destroyed developing brains, and I think they are probably the worst thing. They're worse than smoking, worse than all the drugs. They've psychologically damaged a whole generation of children. Now they can't even look you in the eye when you talk to them.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this AI thing, even though people are scared against it, I think one of the biggest positives is it's going to take away the need for a lot of screen time in order to get things accomplished. Things that maybe we don't need to do, like people who just sit there and do spreadsheets all day, or people like, it's not something they want to do. It's their job currently, but maybe they can then go do something they really wanted to do and make money doing that thing that they had interest in, or something creative. Like kind of forces them out of that like same job they've had for 30 years, like plugging in numbers. It's like, we're not supposed to do that.
I totally agree. It feels like we're going to go into more, there's going to be more freedom.
Yeah.
The next generation are going to be, I think so. It's hard. No one knows. Like,
no,
the fuel problems and the travel things and all that. Who knows where this is going, right? There's loads of stuff happening. There's loads of, but at the end of the day, like I've traveled all over South America, all over Southeast Asia. I've done a lot of travel, and it comes from being born in Ireland and having Europe on my doorstep, because I used to, family holidays or whatever. But being able to fly to Barcelona for the weekend, just take photos, like what a luxury. I live in Australia now and realize how amazing that was, being in Dublin and being able to hop on a plane here for 2 hours. You don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's like a 2-hour flight is the next city. A 2-hour flight, you're out of Ireland, you're in another country. And being able to go to Paris or Barcelona or Prague, it's such a luxury. And having that, I've been able to talk to people in Prague and in a coffee shop and all that kind of stuff that you learn. And I was in France when I was younger. I lived in Boston as well, where you are. I lived there when I was turned 21 when I was in Boston. I worked there painting houses and lived in Com Ave on the Green Line. And and
the greatest transportation ever. No.
And I remember it was a college area. Alston. Alston's the name of the place.
Alston, yeah. I lived in Brighton for a bit. So that's right next door. Yeah.
That's right next door. And I can't remember, there was a particular, that's in a junction. I think there's a I don't know, I can't remember. But what was I talking about? So I think people, when you travel, I would say to any young person, right?
Yeah.
When I meet a lot of junior designers and when I'm mentoring juniors or whatever it is in the creative space, and if they're 20 or whatever, and they say what do you they're talking about Photoshop or talking about Illustrator or talking about AI is coming now, and any advice, I just go and live in a different country.
Yeah.
Because this stuff's always going to change.
Yeah.
But what's going to matter is your point of view on how you see things. Because if you don't have a world view, if you just have a really, really narrow-minded view about something, it can be quite dangerous. I think you have to travel and you have to experience and bring all that experience and knowledge to the table. Is going to make it a lot more interesting when you get involved in projects, because you're seeing things from different ways. Like I remember when, and people are the same everywhere. Like you go to Bolivia, and you're trying to, a bit of Spanish I had at the time, and you're kind of like going bits, having chats and stuff like that. Everybody just wants fun. Like everybody just wants peace and harmony for their family. Nobody it's all the politics that all the stuff, this, us and them, black and white, blue and red.
Yeah,
It's all constructed by humans. Like
exactly.
it doesn't actually really exist when you travel around the world. Doesn't exist. It's like it's like everybody just wants to feed their family and have a joke and have the crack. Really.
Yeah, it's like if everybody could experience travel or experience other cultures, it would be a different place. Like if
It would be a
everyone could
completely different
really,
place.
because like I think the same thing. I've seen so many different places, so many different countries from my work, and it does make you think differently.
It makes you it makes you think completely differently about life and about the world. And I remember when I was I left Ireland to go to Australia, but I went via South America, and I went to Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, and Peru, and I did the Inca Trail and stuff like that. Loads of things I wanted to do on my bucket list. And I remember being in Bolivia. A friend of mine had traveled there a long time ago and said, "If you're ever in South America, go up to the Atacama Desert and go into Bolivia. There's a place called the Salt Flats." This is pre-internet. This is when I was, my first job in design. And because I actually went there for 3 weeks, you see, as a quick trip. When I decided to leave Ireland to go traveling to Australia, I want to go back there to the same place because I was more into photography and I had more lenses and stuff. And I remember when I was there with a shitty lens, there was all these flamingos, and I remember going, "Oh my god!" I was getting really into photography then. I was kind of really starting my travel photography journey at that point. And I remember guys with longer lenses and seeing they're in the car traveling back, going, "Oh my god!" Like they got so close to these flamingos.
Yeah.
So when I was going back to South America, I was like, and I was more into photography then. I had 7,200 lenses and 300 lenses and stuff like that. I was like, I want to go back to photograph the flamingos. Like I literally was in my mind, I want to lie on the grass and photograph those flamingos. And I've been able to do that. Been able to just go like it's a freedom of just going, I want to photograph flamingos, because you've just saved up money in your job, and then it's cheaper to spend money in South America, obviously, right? Your money goes a lot further than just going to Europe or Australia. And I say to people when they say, they go, "Oh, go to Bali," or I go to, want to go to America or whatever. I'm like, "Oh, Jesus, how do you travel around? You're staying in like $300 a night hotels." I'm like, $300 in South America, and you just want a clean bed. You're like, "I'm there for a month." It's like,
exactly.
So your money goes so far. If you're not precious about, all you want is a clean bed and a safe place to sleep. It's like, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's beautiful down there.
It's the best place to go. It's like, oh my God. Like, it's actually just the most amazing thing ever, really, that freedom of traveling around. But the Salt Flats are like 10,000 kilometers square of like, as far as the eye can see. Have you been there? It's Bolivia.
No.
So these Salt Flats are so big. They're the size of like Greater Melbourne or Greater Sydney. Like, but it's when the sun rises, like it's Salt Flats, 8 meters thick of salt, and you're 3,500 meters above sea level, right? And when you're driving across it in a 4-wheel drive, you almost get snow blindness because it's so white. You've got to wear shades. It's like just this glare of white coming off the ground. And it changes depending on the season. I was there when it was dry, but when it's wet, it looks like a giant mirror that goes on for as far as the horizon. Like, it's insane.
That's crazy.
And I remember just looking at this, and the closer you get to certain mountains, you start seeing more of it. So what you're actually seeing is the curvature of the earth. You're actually seeing the mountains are small, but as you keep driving, then they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's not, you just get, because you're getting closer, and you're seeing more of the mountain. So it's thin, and then suddenly, it's actually stretching, it's getting bigger. So you can actually see the curvature of the earth when you're there.
Crazy.
And that made a massive impact on me. Like, just like I've spoken about it to my kids a lot as well. I said, I want to take you to Bolivia. Like, they're probably not old enough to understand it right now, but when they're 15 or 16, like, I'd love to go there with them, because literally seeing the stars at nighttime, it feels like you can actually touch them.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen so many stars and the Milky Way, and it's just like insane. But what was mad about it was when the sun rises, your shadow is as far as the horizon. It just goes on for as long as you can possibly see.
That's crazy.
And it's like Alien. I think they filmed some Star Wars movies and stuff there.
That makes sense, yeah.
And they test moon buggies in the Atacama Desert as well, because it's very similar to the moon or something. The north of Chile. But to me, South America made a massive impact on me. And it's not just one place. made a massive impact on me. It's a combination of loads of places and taking little bits from here and there, Nepal and Thailand and India, and all those little snippets of conversations that you have with people and the people you meet and still in touch with people in Nepal. It forms your opinion on everything to realize that most of the stuff that is in media, I'm talking about news and stuff like that, is all noise. It doesn't exist if you don't see it.
Right. Yeah.
Like
exactly.
if you're living in Nepal and you're a trekking guide and you don't have access to the news because you're not interested in it, your reality is helping travelers, having cups of tea, seeing the most amazing scenery when you wake up and have breakfast every single day.
Right.
But then you live in Western world where it's all about us and them and this and that and this and that and the price of this. All that noise only exists because you're in it all. But you can remove yourself from it by not looking at any of it and then focusing on what matters to you, which is your family.
Right. And how would you remove yourself from it and maybe utilize AI to help you? I guess, like, how could you use AI positively and start removing yourself from these negative situations because people are thinking it's part of the negative situations, like they think it's part of the negativity that's flooding our brains, and maybe it can be the thing that makes you escape those things.
I suppose if you embrace it, if you embrace AI, so you talk about somebody who's on the fence or somebody who's like, I don't.
Right.
Okay, so if you have to obviously be a little bit tech savvy, a little bit. So if you use email and you can use the internet, I'm sure you can. That's all you need to use AI because it's a portal to talk to something, right? So everybody can use AI. If you can use email, you can navigate Google Maps. You can now build anything you want.
Right.
And so basically the baseline's low. The barrier for entry is low, really, really, really low. So the only barrier is your mindset. That's the only barrier is your mind to go, no, I don't want to do that.
And why do you think people are like that? Why do you think that they just like don't want to do it?
It's like they don't want to go scuba diving.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
It's like, have you jumped out of an airplane?
No, I've never jumped. I do a lot of crazy stuff, but I will never jump out of an airplane. The only reason I will never jump out of an airplane is because I am not in control. And I am attached to somebody else that hopefully they had a great day, because if they didn't, that's going to affect me in my situation.
That's interesting. I haven't done it on my own, but I've done a few tandem jumps. In New Zealand and Ireland, and I want to do another one. But it's so obviously you're going, oh, it's alien to me. I can't imagine doing that, right? No, with AI you are in control, so that's different, right? So
exactly.
And obviously, if you're scuba diving, you're in control.
Yep.
But if you jump out of a plane and you learn how to jump out of a plane properly, you are in control. You're in control properly in a pot. So you can get it to a point where you're in control by learning how to do it properly, right?
Right. If you're doing it yourself, like if you're attached to somebody else, it's
like being a passenger driver, right? It's like, you're like, oh, this guy's driving too fast on this windy road. I'm not in control. He's going to crash. Like,
right.
And some people can't be passengers. Some people have to drive. Some people can't sit in the passenger seat as well. They just have to be able to drive because it's a control thing. It's different, right? But once you obviously do those things that are in your comfort zone, which is either, whether it's dive down and do a shipwreck dive, or you're going to a place that's unknown and a bit alien to you is what I'm talking about, really.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of things, isn't it? It's almost like the most open-minded, playful people are playing with this stuff because that's how they approach life anyway. It's like the first people who had iPhones, and then the people who were going, oh, I'm happy with my Nokia, and then not realizing, actually, there's a lot of power here having the iPhone because you can do this, that, and the other, and it's more liberating to be able to access more things when you want to. Now, we all know the negative side effects of that too, but at the time we didn't. It was like, this is great. I couldn't imagine life with a Nokia phone now, because it'd be like, oh shit, I need to get back on the email. I've got to go back to the computer. But it would be good though, because it creates that barrier. So I know health-wise it probably would. I think people are shifting back to that, to Nokias now. And I'm hearing a lot about the younger generation. And this is why I've got hope, you see, because I do believe that there's an not just anti-AI, there's an anti-technology thing happening.
Yes.
And I think that's good, because you're never going to have it all one way anyway. It's always going to coexist. So whatever happens with AI, and if it all, the speed of it and all that kind of stuff, our brains aren't developing fast enough to keep up with it anyway. Like,
Right.
that's what's causing all the anxiety and the depression and everything, because, obviously we're going through the 5 stages of grief as well, and people are bargaining with it. People haven't got to that stage of acceptance.
Exactly.
People are in denial. It's like, what stage are you in this thing? And I flip flop between all of them. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I go, oh my God, this is insane that I can do this. And then sometimes I go, this is amazing. So I'm not
Totally.
like fully accepted of it yet. I do it every day, and I teach people how to use this stuff. But I do go back to that primal state and go, this is wild. Like, this is so mental that we can actually do this thing.
It
But
is.
but the first step I would say to anybody, if they're on the fence about using technology, using AI for any reason, would be to play around with Replit, Claude Code, any image generator that interests them. For
Yeah.
any problem that they see at all in any app that they don't like because of XYZ reasons, try fix it for yourself.
Right.
That could be a meal plan for the kids. That could be,
Yeah.
I need to organize the sport because there's so many things going on. How do I solve that problem for myself
Right.
with technology? Or it could be a music thing. I want to learn the guitar. Okay, well, build yourself a little, how you learn the guitar a certain way. Well, you might learn it a certain way than somebody. Everyone's brains are different. So
Exactly.
I learn very visually, and I learn with tutorials. If someone's showing me something on guitar or drums, I can learn, or music, I can learn by ear anyway. I can kind of hear a drum beat and then know what's going on and then play it. With guitar, I know I can figure out what chords are going because I know I'm in the wrong key because I know by ear. But if I'm learning a complicated thing, I have to look and see what they're doing to get those particular things right. So, but other people need the sheet music, or other people need. So, what I love about AI is it's going to be able to, from an education point of view, it's going to be able to teach people to learn anything their way.
Yeah.
Because everyone's brain's different, and the education system is one way, and everyone's brains are millions of ways.
Right.
And that's what's causing a lot of, well, you don't get an A plus because you can't memorize all of that stuff. So memory equals grades equals ABCs.
Yeah.
If you can memorize more than somebody else, you're smarter than them. That's not the fact. I've met a lot of people who can memorize stuff who I thought were smart who are not.
Right.
So
100%.
Right. So it's not a measure of who's smart or there's street smart, there's world smart, there's different ways of looking at the world. Everybody synthesizes information differently. Everybody in the world synthesizes information in the world differently. And I think AI will help people here. And I think AI will help people learn things a certain way. My son struggles with maths. He's 11. And then my other son uses Replit, who's 13. He took a photograph of his maths book and then asked, I think it was Replit, and he used Nana Banana. And he said, and my son, who struggles with maths, loves soccer, and he follows Manchester United. And he said, turn these maths equations into the context of Manchester United. And it gave up a couple of images, and then he was like, oh my God, like he was able to learn the same thing, but in a different context. And he was engaged because I had read and had a football field background. And straight away he was like, this is engaging. And he was, and these things are going to accelerate. And as you said, they're going to be interactive. They're going to be, heads up displays to learn things. We're going to see a massive, because have you read the stats about the last generation are dumber than their parents because of technology?
No, I haven't.
So I think it's like the 16 to 30-year-olds have performed less in loads of basic tests than their parents at that particular age. So I don't know if it was a conclusive study, but it was headline stuff, and I kind of read around the fringes to basically say, as you were talking about earlier, if you're not engaging in conversation and you've got a phone to your face from your 10 years of age till you're 30, you haven't learned loads of things to be able to react to people when they talk to you in body language and all those little things that we need to do as communication, normal basic level stuff. If you're missing out on all that stuff and you think you're learning, you probably haven't been. And they've done these studies to show that. But maybe the next generation will be the opposite. Maybe they're the AI generation. They're going to learn differently. They're going to, in the ways they want to learn. And I'm hopeful that we can get back on course again and fix those genes that seem to have gone the other direction. Again, this is all snippets of, we don't know exactly, but it feels like we've damaged a whole generation. And hopefully we can get back on track, because it's terrible. It's devastating. The fact
Yeah.
but we didn't know, right? Like parents didn't know. We don't give our kids access to phones or like that, but and
Yeah.
we have conversations constantly. It's a constant narrative in the house. Um, but it's evident to me that the kids who have had access to phones from they're very young, like some are 6 or 7 years of age, they're definitely different. They're a different breed of kids than the ones who have had no access or limited access to technology. There's a difference in how you interact with those children.
Yeah.
It's
Makes sense.
it totally makes sense. I can see the case studies because they're there in front of me with the friends groups and stuff. I'm like, oh my god! And then you realize the parents have similar values, and you realize, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then the ones that are ratty and can't control their emotions at 13, they're going on like 5 year olds, and they have an iPad since they're 5 years of age, and they haven't read a book.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's definitely I've seen that in certain kids and friends' kids where there's a lot of I mean, I notice even with my son, like if he does screen time, which is usually just TV, we don't have iPads or anything because he's only 4. So if he watches a movie or something, he is a little more erratic when we like say, okay, that's it. Like that was the one movie. Like we're gonna go play now. And it's like imagine a kid that just does that hours a day starting at 5 and goes till 30 or even 20 just screens all the time. Yeah, it's going to wreck who they are as a person. It's going to wreck their like emotional stability.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully AI can help that with that. But even if it doesn't, I think we're moving into, like you said, maybe it's like a 3 to 4 day work week. We're going to get more free time. We're going to move into this space of people trying to enjoy life more and be outside and not be connected so much to a screen that's just a void. I mean, most of the social apps, like you can scroll and scroll and it's either the same thing over and over again, or it's just a bunch of stuff that's not going to help you at all. Like it's
Yeah,
mindless. A lot of it's mindless.
yeah, I 100% agree. It is mindless. It's mindless slop. But
Yeah.
but I think the underlying layers is worse though, isn't it? It's the addictive nature because they're designed to be addictive.
Right.
Jonathan Haidt has done a lot of work on this and the anxious generation, and it's it's just sad that we allowed companies to get this much power to infiltrate the bedroom, the
Yeah.
kid's bedroom. You know what I mean? And parents that didn't know. Like,
Right.
as I said, we'll go back to kids drinking at 14, 15,
Right.
taking drugs. Like this is worse than all of that stuff because
Yeah.
it's a decade of abuse, really.
Yeah.
If someone's got a phone from 5 to 15 or 16, whatever it is, whatever age group they start at, like, but the average person didn't know that. Didn't know they were didn't know that they were harming their children because it's like, oh, everybody has it, therefore it's fine.
Right.
Because most people don't read any more than, whatever's in the news or whatever. Most people don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The average person wouldn't dig deeper into this stuff, but you and I are in technology, and so you might think a little bit different about how you handle this stuff. You know what I mean? About the implications because you're in this space.
Yeah.
Like with the AI bots, I could see this happening a few years ago when AI bots were coming, and I'm worried about that because there's a lot of work. Australian Joel Pearson's doing a lot of work on this in Sydney. Look him up; he's great. He talks a lot about this, about the damage that AI chatbots are going to have on society. Because if you think about what social media has done, it's destroyed that connection. We're the most connected ever in the history of humanity, yet the most depression and isolation we've ever been. So like, it doesn't work, right? But what he's talking about is, can you imagine a kid who's 10 who has access to a phone 10 years ago is getting manipulated by the algorithm showing them content.
Yeah.
But now you've got a chatbot, and the chatbot is their best friend, and they're telling the chatbot everything. And the chatbot is designed to keep them addictive as long as possible. Therefore, it's going to tell them. It's a psychological thing I was talking about earlier. So so when the kid then tries to talk to their parents about stuff, we're not going to deliver that information in the way a chatbot would. So therefore, they won't want to even talk to our parents anymore.
Right.
So we're going to destroy the family unit if we allow this to happen. So any parents out there, I would be really, really thinking deeply about what your kids have access to and the chatbots that are there, because it's going to be 10 times worse than the social media generation.
Yeah, I agree. And that's where the negativity of AI does come in is if it's accessible to the youth, even just any generation now, where it's just chatbots. If you're not, it's like anything else. If you're not using it in a way that's productive or solving a problem, you're probably just using it to use it, and it's going to make things worse for you, make things worse for those around you, because you're now connecting with something that, like you said, it's a loop. It's just going to keep you in the loop. You're going to keep using it, and it's going to make you basically not talk to anybody else or be in your own space. And I think, I mean, if it were up to me, I wouldn't use any of the technology. I would just like make films, travel with my family, enjoy life, but we have to make money somehow. And so I see AI, and for myself, I see it as a hopeful possibility to help me go faster and build faster when I want to make something, or I want to show a brand how to maybe create an image or a film. Like, it's great for showing people how things could be done. Like with imaging, you could show them a whole photo shoot idea before you do the photo shoot, or you could present them with, I'm sure you do that with design, is you present them with multiple ideas before you get into it, because you can.
Yeah, that's the power of this stuff. It's the visualization. As I say, picture paints in 1,000 words, right? You can explain all you want, but once you show them that thing, and the creative process is changing, because clients are doing the same thing. And I want this, because they've just done it on their phone. Oh, we want everything to look like this, So with that kind of thing happening, then it changes the relationship between the agency and the client or the brand, or whatever. Like all those different layers with that we've had, and structural layers we've had of how things happen commercially, for instance. It's like it's going to change, right? Because the barriers are starting to change, and but it's always changed, right? Like the radio, the TV, the car, the horse. That's like everything has changed over time. So we just have we'll have a new way of doing things. We'll have a new expectations. We'll have new models. We'll have new products and services we never even could possibly imagine.
Right. And do you think you have less work because of AI, or do you think that AI has brought you more and different opportunities?
For me personally,
yeah.
What I do most of my time now didn't exist 2 years ago. So I find that fascinating. The fact that if I'm having a conversation about something, try to solve a problem, but I'm working on a couple of production problems. So there are production problems or North Stars that they're trying to solve, but they want to bring AI into the loop and figure out how they're going to utilize it in a really creative way. And to me, that's the key. It's not just about how can we do this faster and cheaper and cut humans out, because that is a conversation that's happening.
Right.
I go, why are we not using a human to do those illustrations anyway? Because the brand's all about human connection. Why are you getting AI? So therefore, I didn't realize that. Oh, I forgot. So people are losing their way. They're going, just because AI can do it doesn't mean you should use it.
Right.
Right. So you kind of got to get back to the core brand values and what their North Star is from a top level, rather than just the task of this particular campaign or whatever. It's like, what do you stand for?
Right.
Because brands need to ask themselves more questions now about what is their purpose? Like, what do you exist just to make money?
Right.
Because I believe brands who exist just to make money probably won't exist, because
100%.
Because and that's going to be good, isn't it? It's going to be beneficial for society, because when the cost of production goes to zero, as Mo Gadat talks about a lot as well, he talks about the metaphorical idea of you'll be able to go to a tree, an apple tree, and pick an iPhone from that apple tree.
It's so crazy.
And I love that concept, because basically when you think about it, it's like when it gets to that point where there's no humans in the loop to make that iPhone,
right?
There's no human hours so it's the cost of the materials and whatever, and then the robots are making it 24/7. There's no sick leave, there's no sick pay, there's no hourly wage going into making that product.
Right.
That's obviously good. You see Amazon at factories at nighttime, these dark, and the ones in China, the factories that are just massive, like the size of 50 football fields, and they're just robots in the dark doing stuff because they don't need lights.
Yeah.
So when you see that's when you actually see that factory and there's no lights on, just because there's no lights on, it's almost like an epiphany. You go, oh my God, yeah, they don't need lights. They don't even need bloody lights to work. Right. They just need to recharge themselves, and then they go back again to work again. Like, so if that becomes everything, if everything that we use physically in the atoms and molecules space, if that becomes, if that's made by robots, the cost of production goes to zero.
Yeah.
What then happens to everything else? So the GDP model is then flawed. You know, it doesn't make any sense. It means that we're going to enter a totally different world because, do you know what I mean? It's like,
and that part's scary because it's like, what happens when we enter this space where everything is zeroed out? Like, people probably don't want certain things anymore because like a lot of things are based off of cost. Like, oh, I can't have that. Like, I really want that because it's out of reach. And now it's like, everything's in reach. So what do people want?
100%. It's a philosophical time because people are going to have to ask deeper questions about themselves, aren't they? Like,
right.
If for whatever you do for a living gets completely replaced by a robot, your sense of purpose then is questioned. And mine was questioned too when I saw Midjourney 4. I was kind of going, what the hell? They can do an image in a split second, and
I mean, I question
10 hours of Photoshop. You know what I mean?
Question mine every day when I see some of these things come out. I'm like, damn. I mean, I definitely still have the point of my job where I like to connect with people and film real stories, but still, like, some of this stuff, if you're just editing video, like, eventually a lot of that's going to be really streamlined to the point of you're talking to your phone and you get a video edit.
That's exactly what's going to happen. I 100% agree with you.
It's scary.
It is. So what does it come down to? It comes down to intent. It comes down to the North Star. Why? The why, as Simon Sinek says. Like, so what is your why?
Right.
Why do you exist? What story do you want to tell? And what is the intention behind telling that story to connect people? Because isn't that what all stories do? That's what Hollywood is. It's connecting people, right? You said earlier on about what happens to Hollywood. What did you say earlier on? Oh, yeah, you said something like, if everyone gets a different story, right? So personalized stories or whatever.
Yeah.
They tried that, didn't they, with Choose Your Own Adventure with Black Mirror or something. And they tried like one of those things that was, I can't remember what it was called. And it didn't really work. Like, people weren't really, it didn't go any further. And I heard somebody, and I thought it would, right? Because I had this assumption that, oh my God, you could just go down this rabbit hole and have a different experience. And then I heard somebody explaining to me the reason why it didn't work was because when you are standing at that water cooler and you're going, did you see what happened last night in that episode? And you start talking about it, you're connecting with people because you had the same experience. Mm-hmm. If everybody had different experiences about that particular thing, you wouldn't connect with them.
Right.
So I don't believe personalization to that degree from experiencing a 2-hour movie is going to, yes, it might exist. I'm sure it will exist.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know, like, it will exist from a like, people game and they're going in these rabbit holes. 2 hours they're on their own in a game, but they're connecting with other people in there. I'm sure I don't game, right? I see people game, and then I dip into it to see what's happening with the football games and just to see the technology as far as it's advancing. I'm interested in the graphics. I'm interested in the storytelling, but I'm not a gamer. But at the end of the day, everyone goes, "Did you see Game of Thrones? Did you see Black Mirror? Did you see?" And we talk about that thing. We talk about, you know, and that's what makes it interesting is the fact that we're talking about that thing because we experience the same thing. And that is the same as you arriving in a city with no language, can't speak any language, and you're sitting in a bar in Japan or whatever, some place that doesn't speak English at all, and you're not able to connect with anyone. But if you can speak Japanese and you follow Manchester United and they're on TV and you're watching that game at the same time as them, you're going to have the best night ever because you've connected through sport and you've got the same language. So therefore, it doesn't matter what happens outside of that bar or that place, you're going to connect with that person because you've got a common interest. And Irish people, and most people around the world, but a lot of people have said to me, anywhere I go, I meet people I know. Right? It's really weird. Or I know somebody they know, or someone's brother or someone's uncle, and that because Ireland's very small, and if I come to a particular town and then Dublin, and then you go to an industry, you go music, art. My dad had a bar, my dad had a pub when I grown up, and knows a lot of musicians who then gone on to be successful, and then I know people who work with them, and it kind of like, if I meet someone in Ireland or in Australia, and then if I heard they were in music, I could probably mention 2 or 3 people, and they go, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." Like, it's literally happens so quickly, like, you know. So it's almost like we try to connect naturally. We try to go, do you ever talk to someone and go, oh, yeah, I was in that school, and they go, oh, do you know blah? And then somebody's like, oh, yeah, she was my barber, or she was my hairdresser, or whatever. And then, so we naturally try to connect with people by trying to find that common connection, whether it's
Right.
What movie did you watch? What beer do you drink? What are the kids doing? Like, and then we go, I connected because we're interested. So we naturally try to connect as humans because it's part of human nature. And that's what kept us alive, tribes mentality. But what social media has done is disconnected us. We need to get back to that connection again. We need to get back to less technology, more camping, more hiking, more spending time with family around a dinner table with no phones, lock boxes, and just connect with the kids. And because the tech companies are here destroying them, robots are going to destroy them even more. AI is going to make it 10 times worse. So you have to just remove technology as much as you can from a social perspective out of the house, out of the home, and connect as a normal family, as you would, look the kids in the eye and talk about their day, talk about what's happening in their worlds.
Yeah.
And do things with them and play and adapt and teach them and travel with them and take them out of their comfort zone. Get them to talk, get them to ask for the bill in a restaurant, get them to ask someone the price of something, get them talking in every environment and interacting with as many humans as possible. To form, if you can't travel, you're traveling. You're down the shops are talking to the person never spoken before. That's traveling.
Yeah.
Just talk to as many different types of human beings as you possibly can. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's good advice because you're having kids learn how to experience the world, and that has been lost for years because of social devices. I mean, for work and future, what are you excited about, or like what are you looking towards, like with your profession and what you're doing, like imaging and all the different graphics and things that you do? Is there a place that you see yourself going from where you are now, or do you think like where you are now is what you're going to continue to do, or are you going to jump into a different career because of AI? Like what have you seen yourself evolve, and do you think that you will evolve and do something different with your life than what you're currently doing, or will you continue to do it?
I think it's always going to be revolving around design.
Yeah.
And whether that's design in images, whether that's design with motion, whether that's just motion, it's all part of the creative process as an outlet to tell a particular story. And I've always done stuff like this. When I was in India and we were on these trains zigzagging down to the bottom of India from Delhi, just different places. We were for 4 months, myself and my wife. We were on our honeymoon. We decided to go to India, and it was amazing, absolutely mind blowing. When I was on that journey, I had a camcorder, like it was 20 years ago, or 18 years ago it was. And I remember being fascinated by just filming the different things I was seeing on the train, like just the interactions, people on motorbikes or the beautiful landscape. And you're going through a city, you're going through the countryside. And I'd have and you know, the Indian trains, they go really slow, actually, a lot of them do. And you can kind of sit out the window if you want, or the doors are open as well, so you can kind of have your head out the door. So health and safety obviously isn't a big thing in India, but it's liberating too, though, right? It's dangerous, right. But it's liberating, right?
Yeah.
Because you can have the camcorder out the window, and I was filming all these bits, and then as the poles are coming towards the camera, I'd kind of put the camera in, and I was getting this amazing footage that, like, it was almost like a drone flying towards poles, and then like if you could have a drone back.
Yeah, coming back in the car and
come back in, and I was doing this out the door, right? And on my headphones, I was listening to an artist called Preston Reed, and he was a guitar-based guy, based from New York originally, and then lives in Scotland. And I was a big fan of his music. And as I was listening to his music, it was the same. It was the scenery and what I was doing and for saying was exactly matching his music. And I was like, this is just perfect music for this traveling on this train. I was listening to one of his albums, handwritten notes. And when I got back to Melbourne, like months later, I was going through the footage and I thought, I'm going to make one of his songs with the footage. And I sent it to him as a fan. I made this video. I was in India and your songs really inspire me. And he went, oh my God, that's amazing. Can I use it as an official video for my song? Although it's an old song now. He put it on his Candy Records label. It's got 100,000 views or whatever. And
that's awesome.
And I was like, yeah. And then he goes, and then I was like, look, I've got other ideas for a video. So I made another one using all this old Getty stock by the Prelinger archive of the 1950s and stuff like that. And it was really funny stuff, just using loops basically of people opening and closing the door, going to work, wife saying goodbye, all this really funny stuff from back, funny social stuff that used to happen. It was really, really fun, really classic. And then I was going to Ireland, and I said, I was in touch with him, and I said, I'm going to be in Ireland. And he goes, no, I'd love to come over and meet you. So he flew over with his wife. My wife and his wife went off for the day. We stayed in. I got him a gig in a music venue, and we used the venue during the day before the gig to then film him to make an actual. So I actually made a music video by just filming him playing the song twice, and then just edited it as close as I could to the bits because he's very intricate guitar playing.
Yeah.
So I suppose what I'm saying is, I've always made stuff. Like, I don't make stuff. I make stuff because I want to make stuff.
Like, you don't make it because of the tool. You make it because you want.
I make it because I want to. Like, whether it's sit down to the drums and just figure out a song, or whether it's play guitar, I play a bit of blues and guitar, and I mess around the piano. I mess around on loads of different things, and AI is just another thing. It's just another way to, like, I get enjoyment out of making a video of AI as I do sitting down the drum kit and figuring out a track or
right.
So it's part of the creative process is to just make something.
It's an exploration. Like, it's always changing, and you want to explore the different ways that you can express your story, the way that you want to tell your design story.
Yeah, what I'm interested in. Like, I'm interested in connecting, and I'm interested in connecting with people, and I do a lot of videos around the phone thing, around the anti-phone thing, and I've done a few funny videos with, like, famous album covers, like Bruce Springsteen just staring at his phone, like, or Bob Marley, legend, like him just on his phone, and because the idea
he can do it.
But the idea there was really, I was thinking around the idea of, if phones existed back then, would those legends have existed? Because they'd be so distracted, they may not have done the deep work. So, whether it's Bob Marley, or whether it's Bruce Springsteen, or whether it's, Pink Floyd, like, those albums that you listen to from start to finish, not just a song, it's an album that you flip over, and the ritual of putting on a record and then listening to side A, then listening to side B, as you would have years ago, which I still do. I've got a record player.
Me too.
We inherited a big record player, actually, and it was amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and I still play vinyl, and I still get the kids to put on a record. And they're fascinated. How does the music come out of this, like, material? I'm like, how does it come out of a phone? Oh yeah,
like, yeah, exactly.
So it's like, the head's spinning, right? But you actually think about it, you go, that's amazing technology. A diamond, with vibration, and like that, making vinyl, like, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
And how does the sound come out of this? But I've always been fascinated by process. And the idea for that, was literally, what would have happened? Would these albums that have literally caused revolutions of people's minds of how they think about the world, would they have happened if all of these artists were distracted?
Probably not.
I don't think they would have.
No.
So what I'm interested in is, what are the next generation of kids who have really something to say? Like, where are the punks? Like, we're Nirvana had something to say, the Sex Pistols had something to say, and Bob Marley and all these revolutionary artists and Che Guevara. Like, where's the next stage of that stuff? I'm interested in that. I do believe, though, if AI was around, when Salvador Dali was around, I reckon he'd be playing with this stuff.
Yeah.
I reckon Andy Warhol.
Totally.
And Andy Warhol would have been playing with this stuff.
Totally. 100%.
Like, it's like 100%. They were the innovators. They were all about new stuff, about reproduction as art and silkscreen print runs. Like Andy Warhol would possibly be the most prolific prompt writer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He would probably sell the prompt in a frame, and everyone go, "That's just genius." He just, like, it's like the banana type to the wall. It's like, that's just genius. He didn't even make the image. But that's the intent. He just sold the intent. That's just fucking genius. Like,
yeah.
Like, and we call it art. Like, all the prompts are just framed in a wall, and you can imagine whatever that would be. That's art.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that's the part that people are overlooking, is that if this existed, like you said back then, all the people who were against the grain or maybe just trying to do something a little different were using it. And so I think it's one of those, it's going to be here forever. We're going to have it, or at least for the foreseeable future. And I think it's worth playing with. I think it's worth just trying to see what you can create, because it might open up things in your mind that have nothing to do with technology and AI. And I think that's the biggest unlock, is it actually makes you think about the world differently.
Yes.
And be able to ideate better.
I 100%.
That's what I think.
I 100% agree with you there. It's somebody said to me like 2 years ago, it was a contractor, prolific designer, and he pulled me aside for a coffee. And he said, look, I'm looking at this AI stuff coming fast, and I'm learning Illustrator, and I'm learning Photoshop, and I'm thinking, I always thought I wanted to really get stuck into Illustrator and, and become my niche. But I'm looking at this technology, this AI technology, like, will there be a job for an illustrator in the future? And he was getting all this kind of sense of panic, and he was kind of like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is like probably so Midjourney 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Before ChatGPT and before Nano Banana, so before the good image generators with that stuff. So it was good, but it wasn't amazing as it is now. And he could see it coming though. He was like, I said, do you know something? What's going to happen next? All of those illustrations that you're designing in these AI apps will become editable eventually. You better just click a button, they're all vectors, and you can, like, that's 100%. And Lovable are starting to go in there now, and Canva and stuff. Like, so I could see it happening a mile away. This is going to happen. You'll have fonts that you can generate, and it gives you a JPEG, but you can then just go, boom, now it turns into fonts you can change. And again, like, that was just like a no-brainer that's where it's going to go. Next, you just go, make it move in your, as you say, talk to it, make it blue, animate it in this, and then suddenly it'll just come to life. And you haven't done it, you just got prompt, motion, and in 2 seconds, you've got this amazing thing that would take a week to do, like literally professionally. So I just said to him, what are you interested in? Like, and he's like, what do you mean? And I was, what are you interested in? What are you interested in outside of doing banner ads for a major corporation for a month? If you're employed to do banner, you're a talented designer, but in this particular job, you're doing out-of-home banner ads for a week. Like, surely you're not interested in that. Like, because I think AI, it's already placing that stuff, and it's going to be good because designers don't like doing that. It's like putting a button on a shirt in a factory, right? It's the same thing as the Industrial Revolution. It's like, I'm putting a button on a shirt for 50 years.
Yeah,
that's not creative, right? So AI is going to take all this stuff, and I think it's good because designers can do proper stuff and stuff they really want to do with intent. But he didn't. You know, when you ask someone what do they like to do and they don't know what it is, he couldn't give me an answer. So I said to him, "Okay, imagine you're at a bus stop and you're ready to go somewhere, and then you realize the bus is going to be an hour late, and there's a bookshop across the road, and you go over there for coffee to kill time. What section do you go to?"
Yeah,
and he goes, straight away to the furniture section. I was like, cool. Modern furniture. He says, and sustainability. And I was like, great. So straight away he went, that's what I'm interested in. He didn't know what to tell me, but he was like, I realized that's what he wants, that niche he loves to do, and that's what he thinks about. And I said, have you played around with any of the LLMs? And he's like, LLM, like, what's that? And I was like, any of the chat apps, and ChatGPT was probably the main one, really only then. And he goes, no, not really. I don't know what to do. And I said, put in everything you're interested in, all the stuff that you love to do, like, and ask it questions, ask it to research certain topics that you love to do, and start thinking about how you can organize a business or something that you like, whether it's your opinion on something around those interests, and follow that interest. Because if you follow that interest, something's great's going to happen. You're going to be happier. And the mad thing about it is that's what my parents said to me when I was a kid, was like, follow your interests.
Yeah.
And by following my interests has led me to just morph and adapt and do different things. I've done all different types of design and different types of things for this, whether it's retouching, 3D, motion graphics, video. Like, I've kind of done all of those bits that has got me to this point. So I was sick of flat design, so I learned After Effects.
Yeah.
I was sick of looking at, just flat images and photography. I used to photograph bands and everything. I was like, I want to do video. So then I just take video footage and edit it down to funny videos, whatever. And so I think it's about following your interests to then, what is that impact? What stories that you want to tell, and is it going to help people? Is it going to be more purposeful? Is it going to tell a story that'll have an impact on people to make them think differently about something that you care about? If it's furniture design or sustainability, is it, what is that? So I think use technology to get you to the next stage of what you want to do.
Right.
Because not just like having an internet connection anymore. You've got a PhD student in every subject.
Yeah. And
You know,
stop being like locked into like, if you're doing something currently, you can always change your path. Like you can always try something new. I think people get worried about being stuck in the same thing, and then they get worried about AI taking their job. But it's like, maybe that's not the job that you want. Maybe it's just the job you've been doing. Maybe you should
that's a good way of looking at it.
look into the interests that you have, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of different possibilities out there. And I think maybe it will knock people out of those spaces and allow them to rethink what their purpose could be.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's going to make people think differently. But if you think about, so say we're in the middle, we're in the messy middle now. It's
Yeah.
messy.
Yeah.
You know, you and I who have built our career around a process that now kind of doesn't exist. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You kind of go, what are the people doing that don't know about our process?
Right.
So go back to Uncle Eamon. He made posters with letraset and cameras and blew up type, and took him a week to make a poster by cutting out ganja leaves around a Bob Marley poster or whatever. And he did all this sort of stuff back then. And he spent time in that studio, my dad's studio, by the way. My dad had a screen print studio. So his screen print company in Eamon worked there. So I used to see it after school. I'd come home from school and I'd be fascinated by him cutting out bits of stuff and then that making a thing to then become a poster, and then different layers of color. And my dad would choose colors. My dad was very much into art direction, and he didn't know it at the time, but he would be an art director, classified as an art director today. And he's very creative. He always been creative with music and stuff as well. But I was so curious, and I used to have the bags of letraset, the ones that would be missing most of the letters, so they just put them in a bag and not use them. But I would make a K out of a J and a bit of a P, and I used to love doing that, almost like David Carson, because I was fascinated by David Carson later on, and it was because of that aesthetic of broken type and letraset, and just making something with what you have, so you're restricted.
Right.
I think creativity needs, whether you put your own restrictions on, I think is good. I think whether it's a deadline, that's a restriction, or whether it's I'm just going to use blue and green, or I'm just going to use these two images, because when you have access to everything, you've then got to control what you restrict. So giving yourself a deadline and an idea, and it has to be this, it has to be this font, it has to be, this is what I'm talking about. I'm very, very single-minded about this particular proposition or this North Star. And that's the intent. So, that's what I want to get, because I'm so narrow-minded about what that result needs to be that I'm going to then give myself these parameters to get there. It's like when you're telling a story of a particular person, of their life. You already probably have an idea about the kind of grade you're going to use. You probably have an idea about what kind of framing you're going to use. You're going to use rules of thirds. You're going to use a long shot for this. You're going to tell this story through Ken Burns, or like there's all these like ways filming techniques, but you've already set your parameters up because it's probably something your own style that you've developed over. That's what it is, because you've just honed it to that particular point, so you know that anyway. But it's probably going to be something you might have read or seen, or someone said something in a podcast, and you went, and then that might take a tiny percent of that might just add a little bit extra to your thing, because we're taking bits of information from everywhere. And that's what AI obviously did. It took information from everywhere, and then we ask for it. But AI isn't making it on its own. If you lift like someone said to me, AI just does everything. I'm going, does it? So if you open up the window with ChatGPT, does it do it? What does it say? It say nothing. I said, no, you ask it for it. So so it's your intent to get the thing, and then you decide what you leave out to get to the thing, and then you decide what edit to get the thing. So I made a fake Tesla ad, a spec Tesla ad about 3 years ago, when Runway just got to a certain point and Luma got to a certain point where the video was quite good. It's looking back on it, it's terrible quality, but at the time it was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Right.
And I just wanted to make a car ad, number one, and then I liked the idea of a Tesla because it was quiet and it was sustainable and all this sort of stuff. And I'd been to Iceland a few years ago, and I had an idea around the volcanoes powering electronic cars. I had this idea years ago, and I took lots of photos, and I was in Iceland. And I was like, I'm going to make this car ad around Iceland. And the volcano was going up, and the lava was kind of coming down the mountain. Tesla was kind of going in and around the lava. And going through that process was amazing, because I was a drone operator, I was a DOP, every single decision I made was what 10 people would make on a set to make a particular car ad, but I was just doing it for fun.
Right.
But I think I generated 130 videos, 250 images, and it comes down to 13 shots and an edit in the end. And I show that in the presentation that I left out 99.9% of the stuff. So what you're seeing is a combination of all the bits I left out to get to a particular point, and then edited to a particular track from John Hopkins that I really liked to tell that particular story, and some parts go in reverse and After Effects or whatever. So it's all those little tiny little bits. But yet, when someone sees that online, like say 2 years ago, AI, did you think, oh, you just press the button, Tesla ad, and it made the ad?
Yeah, people still think that. You just press a button and you get the thing.
They still think that. And it's like, not. And it's exactly like pick a font in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But that font that you picked is part of the process of designing a poster to tell a story with that particular point of view.
Right.
There's no difference between that and that.
You have to have vision. You can't just like pick the font and then the poster's great.
Exactly right. And that comes down to then your point of view. And Rick Rubin said, AI doesn't have a point of view. He says, we go to the artists for their unique point of view. AI doesn't have a point of view. Right. So whether it's Salvador Dali using AI to tell a particular story, we're not going to question it. Whether it's Andy Warhol screen printing, telling, they go, oh, it's screen printing, it's reproduction, that's not art. It is. Look, we put it on, it's in galleries now, saying he was an innovator. But back then it was like, what's he's cheating? Is he?
Right. Exactly.
No, it's a new medium to tell a story. And I love this, actually, when you think about it. If you went to a paint shop and bought black paint, and then went to an art shop and bought black card, and went home and cut out a big stencil, and went to a wall and spray painted that wall with the stencil, took it off, went home, in the news the next day, outside the police station, vandalism, this guy taking the piss out of the police force or the government, whatever. Banksy does it. Oh my God, that wall now is art. It's all over the media. This is genius. Yeah. We're going to now cut that wall down, put it in Sotheby's and sell it for 10 million quid. What's the difference? The difference is Banksy did it, or he verifies it because he's got his name on it, or he puts it on his Instagram page to therefore verify that he did it. That thought piece, adding to the cultural narrative of that particular moment and that statement at that particular time, is the art piece. We call it art. But if my kid did it, he's going to get a fine and I'm going to end up in jail for buying him the paint.
I know.
So that alone tells you the madness of society right there. That's how nuts this is, because we've constructed what is art and what is vandalism based on who did it. So what the hell? Like, we've made that up though. We've made that up. Like that. If you take away the Banksy and all that kind of stuff, it's just, it doesn't matter who did the thing, because we give it value, because the meaning behind it gives it value because of what it did. So it's the idea and the illusion of what that thing means is in people's head, in people's brains, and that's what branding is. It's the illusion of what that means to the people over time.
And that's what we've done, is we give things value and we devalue things by the way that people, it's basically different groups with AI or with any other type of art form. People say it's not art.
We put people in buckets.
Yeah.
We categorize things.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing that for years, and I don't think it will ever stop.
It's never going to stop. We've been doing this forever. And you know, it's almost like, did you ever see that famous illustration? It's brilliant. It's like an aerial view of an illustration that's got thousands of people going towards a cliff, right? Thousands of people going towards a cliff. And they're all just falling off like lemmings, because they don't know when you get closer that there's actually a cliff there. All you can see is just everyone running in the same direction, all falling off the cliff. And then you got one person running the opposite way. And the quote is, the person going the opposite way appears to have lost his mind. And you go, that's life. That's exactly what it is. Once you go against the cultural narrative, you look like a nutcase, but then in 10 years' time, you're an innovator and you're talking. Yeah. It's like,
people look back on it, they're like, oh yeah, this is great. And you're like, yeah, I was doing this 5 years ago. And they're like, yeah, and it's really great that what you've been doing. You're like, 5 years ago, you hated it.
Exactly, because we all, generally, it's the herd mentality, right? We're only comfortable within the herd pack.
Totally.
And once someone's doing something different, whether it's a football team, where it's a different jersey, so everyone in a pack will go, oh, screw you followed that team. But what, guy on his own, would he say screw you? No, he wouldn't. But when they're with their mates, they do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Safety in numbers.
Yeah.
And it's bloody dangerous.
Yeah, it
You
happens
know,
all over social.
it's dangerous, man.
LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter.
Yep,
It happens all over. And it
exactly.
is dangerous.
It's really dangerous, and that's why when you travel and you get out of your comfort zone and you adapt, you realize everybody's the same.
Exactly.
And that's why I always say AI is another thing, but it's how you use it and the intent of use it based on your worldview and what your opinion is what matters, not what the technology is, not the vessel or the to get it there. You know, whether it's a stencil or whether it's a prompt, it's still the same. The intent is what matters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I think you've said everything that makes sense to me, and I think that we've had a great conversation about this. I mean, is there anything else that you want to add in? This was awesome. I'm glad we got to do this.
No, I'd like to thank you first of all because we've been in touch for a bit, and it's been lovely to finally been able to connect properly and have a chat over a cup of coffee at 7 in the morning, or 6 in the morning when you jumped on this call. Oh my god,
Yeah,
didn't realize the time.
like 5:40 my time at
5:40
night.
your time.
So yeah, I mean,
You know,
I'm glad we were able to make it work because it is crazy for anybody that's listening. He's in Australia. I'm in the Boston area, so able to connect and talk about art and stories, and we're all the way across the world. So that's really cool.
yeah, and everyone's in a different stage of this particular journey, right?
Yeah,
As I said, the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Like everybody is somewhere on that journey, right? But there's a lot of people still on the same journey with MP3s
right.
and vinyl. They're still going, I'm not accepting it, I'm not getting a Spotify account, I'm still playing my tapes. And that might be 10 years ago. So what I'm saying, I suppose, is, and they might be right too, though, right? It's like they're supporting artists in different ways, but yet, Spotify's different way of listening to music and playlists, and we all know where that went. But everything changes and evolves, and there's no one way.
Right.
There's no way like, oh, this is the right way to do it. Like, have you seen Adolescence? Adolescence is amazing. It's Netflix.
Yeah.
To me, that was really so powerful because they're not just because of one shot thing, but there's just so many aspects to that. Like even the song,
right?
The song and the music of the girl singing is actually in the choir is actually the girl who was murdered, is actually her voice. Like there's all these little kind of small things that make that art. It's
right.
And Stephen Graham and like just this amazing story. There's no AI used there. Now you might, if you dug underneath the radar, maybe they use ChatGPT to figure out something or whatever. Like who cares? Like it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's about the story and the narrative. And sometimes I go in a particular brief to do something, I'll be like, no, we shouldn't use AI for that reason because it's about the brand. Why are we using a human in it when it's about human emotion? Are Nike going to use AI generated sports stars? Probably. But if AI labels become a thing and get bigger on ads, like a cigarette packet or like a nutrition label, will they do it then? So I'm interested in that. I'm interested to see where we land with this stuff because
exactly
it's the Wild West. It's early internet. It's all of that stuff before we could trust a credit card going into our computer. It's all that right before we realized eBay. Don't trust that guy selling me the things. We're in that space now. We don't trust it because it's new and it's different and all that. We've been here before. We didn't trust electricity. Electricity was ghosts. It was like it took decades, years before we figured out to put electricity in a light bulb to light a house to replace a fire or a lantern or whatever. But we pushed back then as well. It was like, oh, this is going to get, and houses burned down because they knew what to do with it. It was bad wiring and it was dodgy, and it took years before we packaged it to be a toaster or a blender. It took long before we could package it into a thing to become something could useful. And I think AI is going to be the same. I think we're going to see AI in bloody everything.
Yeah.
Toasters. You just walk up to the toaster, it will just know exactly by your face that you like your toast this way, and your wife might like it a bit different.
Yeah.
Which would be scary and weird. And I might go, I don't like the idea of my toaster looking at my face. And it might take me, like, I don't even have a bloody microwave, but like, but it might get to a point where you're just going, like people will adapt and people will accept it. Like people have iPhones and people still have Nokias or whatever, or people play vinyl and don't listen to MP3s. Everyone's on a different journey. There is no one way.
Exactly.
And that's it. There's no one way. But I do think if it gets to Neuralink and you have to have a brain implant to communicate, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out too.
I'm like, no, give me the campfire in the woods. I'm going to hang out over here and grow vegetables.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see how far it goes. But but it won't be one way. It's going to be people are on different journeys. It's a river, man. It's not a plank of wood going down a river. It's a fucking river.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we'll stay connected and share our journeys as we go.
100%.
So
it'd be great to
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
No, it's lovely to chat to you. It's great.
I'll talk to you soon.
We're on the same journey.